Clara and the Secret Cat Kingdom. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town, there lived a sweet girl named Clara, and her best friend in the whole wide world was a fluffy black cat named Whiskers. She loved him more than chocolate cake and fairy tales combined. Every night, just as the moon peeked through her bedroom window and the stars twinkled above, Whiskers would stretch his legs, let out a long, lazy yawn, and poof, he'd disappear. Clara always wondered, where does he go every night? One night, her curiosity tickled her like a feather, so when Whiskers hopped off the windowsill, Clara tiptoed behind him, quiet as a whisper. Down the creaky stairs she went, out the back door, and into the cool, shadowy garden. She watched as Whiskers trotted along the old wooden fence and slipped through a tiny hole she had never seen before. Of course, Clara, being a brave and curious girl, followed him through. And what she saw on the other side made her eyes go wide as saucers. Gone was her garden. She had stepped into a magical cat kingdom. Yes, you heard that right. Cats walked on 2 feet, wore the silliest little hats, tiny top hats, floral bonnets, even one with a giant feather sticking straight up. There were teeny shops with even tinier windows, and right in the middle, a bustling, noisy cat market. But something wasn't right. Cats were pacing, meowing loudly, waving their paws in frustration. "The milk! Gone again!" cried a baker cat, his chef hat flopping over his eyes. "And my best fish!" sobbed a fishing cat. "Poof! Disappeared!" "It's that naughty little mouse," growled a big ginger cat wearing a tiny crown. "He's too fast. We just can't catch him." Just then, Clara spotted a tiny blur, a mouse, dashing between barrels with fish in one paw and a milk bottle in the other. "That must be him," she whispered, and she stepped forward. "Excuse me," she said politely. "I think I can help." All the cats turned, jaws dropping. A human girl in their kingdom? Whiskers purred proudly and rubbed against Clara's legs. The cats, desperate for help, nodded in agreement. First, they tried a big net, but the mouse zipped right under it. Then, they laid out sticky paper, but the clever mouse hopped over it like a ninja. Third, they lined up a row of sneaky cats ready to pounce. But zip, zap, zoom! The mouse escaped again. Clara sat down and thought hard. Then, ding, a brilliant idea. She set a trail of cheese that led to a quiet, cozy corner. Not long after, a tiny pink nose sniffed the air. The mouse peeked out and followed the trail, his whiskers wiggling with delight. Just as he reached for the final piece, snap! Clara gently cupped him in her hands. "Gotcha," she said with a smile. The cats erupted in cheers, but the mouse, his tiny voice shaking, looked up at her and squeaked, "Please, I didn't mean harm. Let me explain." Clara's heart softened. "Okay," she said gently. "Tell me why you've been stealing food." The mouse looked into her eyes with sadness and said, "Follow me." So Clara and a few cats crawled through a tiny tunnel under a shop and into a hidden room. There she saw dozens of tiny beds, and in each one a small, shivering mouse child. "They have no one," the mouse whispered. "They're hungry. I had to feed them." Clara felt a lump in her throat. "It's not right to steal," she said softly, "but I understand. You just wanted to help your family." The cats looked around. Their angry meows melted into thoughtful murmurs. The ginger cat with the crown stepped forward. "We didn't know." Then Clara's eyes lit up. "What if you all work together?" The cats and mice blinked at each other. Could it work? From that day forward, everything changed. The mischievous mouse, whose name was Squeaky, became best friends with Whiskers. The cats shared their fish and milk, and the mice were amazing cooks. They baked the tiniest pies and the fluffiest cakes using berries and nuts. They made teeny sandwiches and cheesy treats with ingredients from the cat market. Soon the entire market was famous for its tiny, delicious snacks. And most importantly, no one was ever hungry again. The kingdom was filled with purring cats, squeaky giggles, and the smell of warm pie. Clara had followed her nose and discovered not just a magical world, but a way for cats and mice to live happily, together. So every night when Whiskers disappeared, Clara would smile because she knew he was off to a place full of love, laughter, and cheese. The end. But wait,